Oh, hi, you guys.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Kelly, who's on your hat?
I don't know, but isn't he cool? He's my niece bought this hat for me. It's like a little like fun bug thing.
Can you
Like
bring it into the camera a bit? Oh, yeah, I can see that.
I think is
Nice.
it a snail on top of a mushroom? I feel that's what's happening.
I wish I could see. I think compared to the visuals of my face and yours and Adam's face, I've got a giant melon. Yeah, that's some. Oh, yeah, it is a mushroom. Cute.
Yeah.
It almost looks like a
It's
Pokemon.
Sharon's snail that she loves so much.
Yeesh. The one with the garlic butter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yuck.
That one
Uh,
exactly.
yeah, I'll have a hard time eating escargot
Yeah.
after that encounter.
I
Truthfully.
realize that we haven't talked about this, and when you do your lineup, Sharon, I realized that when our show dropped last week, on the Friday, uh,
Yeah.
we were a bit well because we'd recorded a few days before that, but Ryan Seacrest is the host of Wheel of Fortune, so I thought we
Yeah. Isn't that wild? Like he
mentioned
doesn't have a
that.
thousand other things going on. It's amazing, this guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
But he's going to be good at it. I
I
mean,
think
he's
so
good at
too.
that kind of show and yeah.
Yeah, he can handle a crowd really well, and he's
Yep.
he's obviously got ad lib skills. Like
And he can
maybe they
keep the
won't
show
shout as much.
going, he can like wrap everything up and all right, let's go. We got to, move forward. So he's good
Yeah.
at that. So
Totes.
I feel like he has a vision board in his bedroom where he's like, check, I did this, check, I did that,
It's not
check,
even like
look
a
at me.
list. It's one box that just says everything.
Yeah.
Go for it.
and we should all aspire to do the same.
Yeah,
Yep.
you know what? Whatever you want, go for it. The worst thing that can happen is someone tells you no. And then if that happens, you find out a way to get a yes from somebody else.
Yep.
Try, try, try.
Atlas Sherry Shepherd, who finally got her daytime talk show.
Oh, good. There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
You see? You see? It wasn't it either going to be a talk show or Wheel of Fortune. And Ryan Seacrest took that away from her. Just kidding. Good for Ryan. We'll see how the contract negotiations continue for Vanna.
Yep.
I heard somebody on a radio station not owned by the company that we work for, you guys, a competitor. I know there's other radio stations. That's wild. Anyways, I heard this person say, like, why, I get all, equality and stuff, but like, why should she make as much as Pat? Like, she was only flipping the letters. And I thought this guy, first of all, it was a guy,
Yeah.
was sort of, I thought, like, you're missing the point, man. You can't start your sentence by saying, I get, equality, and then like denounce it at the end. Like that's her job requirement, was to flip the letters.
Yeah.
Pat's requirement was to host the show. And no one says they should have made the same amount of money, but like it shouldn't have been that drastic a fraction that she was making that much less than him, especially since for FaceTime, literal FaceTime, they were a team.
Well, and as, like, I think, when they started the show, he was obviously going to be the quote unquote star, right? To start off, but then she quickly found her place and her audience, and they did become the dynamic duo. So that should have been reflected in her salary.
Yeah. Why not? It shouldn't be like $3 million a year is a great salary. No question about that. But it's certainly a lot less than 15 million.
Which Pat is getting. Yeah.
Yeah.
And P.S., your competitor, anytime somebody starts with, I get equality, that right in and of itself is dissing
it. Yeah, you don't get equality, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's too
Doorknob.
Bad. Dimwit.
Did you call him a doorknob?
Did.
Yeah. If it's
I've never heard that insult. I love
that's
it.
Like a total 90s insult.
Your doorknob.
Yep.
Oh. Well, the more you know. Thank you, Kelly, for that one. I might be using it in 2023.
Here to teach. Yep.
You're good. It's good to share your knowledge with everybody. Well, for today, you guys, we have got a lot of stuff to get to. So not the least of which for 16-year-old Sharon is the WHAM documentary, which by the time this show is has reached the people, our show that is, the WHAM documentary on Netflix will have already made its debut. So this is the face of future Sharon.
Yeah.
Very excited.
She's happy.
Very happy.
That was my face the minute I saw it and watched the trailer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait. So we'll talk about that and one of the take one from the coulda files and in that regard. Also, and just like that, we'll see Kim Cattrall back on with the girls. Oh wait, no, not with the girls, just on the show. We'll talk about that. Also that we'll do some Kelly will freak us out with some trivia. And by freak out, I mean, God, we just want to get one right. Yeah. And we'll also do a 90s rewind that'll take us back to one sweet spot of our favorite decade. But Madonna's health has rearranged her tour schedule, which has rearranged the social calendars of a lot of people who were banking on shows coming up. So let's start there, you guys. Mm-hmm. The last we saw of Madonna on, say, Instagram was June 20th when she posted some pics from the rehearsal space and captioned it, "The calm before the storm." So what we know, I think what we didn't know, and certainly what she didn't know, was that what was coming her way. What we do know of Madonna is how hard she works to prepare for anything that she does professionally, creatively. So ahead of the July 15th start date of her celebration tour that was to start in Vancouver, just west of here, like 5-hour flight. It's great that she's been putting in the work, but there's been nothing on Instagram from her since that. I mean, I checked about an hour ago before we recorded. Her manager, Guy Osiri, posted an update about a bacterial infection that landed her in the ICU. And what we know now is that she's out of the hospital. But that's it. It wasn't necessarily a smooth exit from the hospital either, because there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. So lots of things to be rearranged for this tour.
And you know how they phrased it when they postponed the shows? They didn't say, okay, this show are postponed. They said the whole tour is postponed. Yeah. So, I mean, they were still scheduled to start, in 12 days from today. Mm-hmm. So what's going on? I have tickets for August 19th show. I don't know if that's going to happen, because she should technically be back on her feet, right?
Technically, but a bacterial infection, we don't even know what was infected. And again, we preface any of this very private information with it's actually none of our business, that stuff. But out of curiosity, certainly we'd like to know how she'll progress. And selfishly, because of people with tickets like me and Adam, who want to, just find out. But priority placed like completely on her health and getting better, because without that, the tour obviously is not happening. So,
the only thing that would bother me,
what's that?
Is that this is a whole setup for the tour not being ready.
I don't know that.
I'm not saying that's what it is.
No,
it would it would suck. I would be, disappointed. Well, whatever. It doesn't change anything, but I just hope that's not what it is.
I don't know that
she's old school. She would never pull that.
You sure?
She's always ready.
Yeah, she's always ready.
Well, what if she wasn't and she didn't want to look not ready?
I don't know. She's like, she's done this too many times not to know.
Yeah, I agree.
Like how she needs to be ready. So
agreed.
Yeah.
Well, I like your answer. I'm not saying, I wish she really was sick. Like, that's not what I'm saying.
No.
But,
No, but that's the interesting thing about when artists have to cancel. I think the starting point has to be that they don't want to do that, because it's so much work for the people around them and their the business side of what they're doing on a creative scale. It's so much work to have to reschedule and costly, and venues on this end aren't necessarily going to be like, oh, it's okay, we get it, you're calling in sick. It's a huge
but it happens. It happens sometimes. I remember a big artist, like a big name, canceling a show here in our neck of the woods in the province, saying the artist was sick. When we learned, well, it was never public, but we learned that there were just not enough tickets got sold, and it would have looked ridiculous. So they just canceled the show.
Who was it?
The day of. Well, I can't really say.
Why?
Well, because I'm not like, it wasn't made public, so it's a
Courtney
rumor.
Love, she burped.
It's a rumor I've heard from sources that should have the right info.
Oh, sure.
And
that's the part 2 of this whole conversation.
Let me just say it wasn't a show that would happen during the week. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh,
so you do what you want with it.
Interesting. Huh.
So that's what I heard.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hear you.
Courtney Love. I'm still going.
No, you've had rest, Kelly. I think it's not Courtney Love.
I Madonna's old school from the 80s. She would never pull this, especially because I've heard on the back end that she's been so thrilled with the amount of people wanting her to go on tour because the tickets sold out immediately and she added second dates to several places, that she was full steam ahead and was pushing herself too much to get herself ready. So I think she's sick, and she must be really sick, or was, to back this up.
I agree. Because I think I agree with everything that you said, and I can completely understand your concerns, Adam, for what we know also. But I think she's born ready. And like you say, to have sold out so quickly wouldn't have been a surprise to her. And I think she was prepared before she even announced that it was going to happen. But you have to then fine tune the details. And I think that's where she's at, or was at.
Spoiler alert, I was going to be her opening act, playing the spoons.
Oh.
No, you know what? The fun fact about Kelly is that she probably could play the spoons, but she can also sing.
Yeah.
You guys.
You know who the opener was for the show, right?
Who was it?
It was Bob the Drag Queen.
Oh, right. Yes.
Oh, cool.
That's true. We talked about Bob the Drag Queen. I forgot.
Well, I'm saying it was. It's probably still going to be Bob.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Bob's on hold.
And also, I don't know if you guys saw this. I follow Rosie O'Donnell on social media, and she put out a post a few days after Madonna saying, and I'm sure she wasn't supposed to, but they're friends, and she said she's okay.
Oh, good.
So I'm assuming she wanted all Madonna fans to know that, she's.
Well, this just helps my theory. She's good.
Well, she's good now after she had an infection and she was vomiting uncontrollably, because that was the other stuff that was released, right?
I'm gonna stop. I believe you, Sharon.
When was
Kelly.
the Montreal dates? What was it? It was July or August?
It was August 19th and 20, I think, was the second date.
Right. Okay.
Was the 19th a Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're going on the 20th, and that it was like, I'm going to be tired the next day, but it doesn't matter.
Well, the good news is I was invited to one of our colleagues' wedding on the 19th. So the good news is now I can go to the wedding.
Oh,
that's good. Hooray.
Yay.
Is that a French colleague? Because I don't know any English colleague.
Because Kelly's not got an invitation to a wedding.
It's a Vito V.
Oh, that's great.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Very good.
So big Italian wedding. My first big Italian wedding. So
don't eat all day, Adam.
I will not eat all day. I will save some space, but I will eat at the wedding because there will probably be a lot of alcohol.
Yeah. Now that's funny because Vito, for our audience who's listening, is a resident DJ on Virgin. And so I'm assuming he's not spinning at his own wedding. So do you know who the DJ is, Adam?
I have no idea. I have a few guesses. Because he's friends with a lot of could it be Tiesto? He's friends with Tiesto, so we'll see. If it is, it would be pretty dope to have Tiesto DJ at your wedding.
I bet you Tiesto shows up in either regard. So
wow.
Well, I'll keep you posted when we're back next season.
If Tiesto's there, he's turned me down for an interview before, so let me know at the wedding just to get an interview with Tiesto.
Priorities.
Yep.
Well, so now that we can put a pin in the Madonna story, in that we know not much more than we did, we'll keep our fingers crossed, send her some positive vibes, and get into some trivia.
Let's do it.
90s now. Trivia.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
I'd like to start with the hard one. So this is art and literature. Which novel set in Japan, if you don't speak French, follows the story of a young girl named Chiyo Sakamoto, Nita Sayuri?
My goodness, Kelly.
How are we supposed to know that?
Well, because when I tell you
Thank
the
you.
answer, you're gonna be like, and Sharon's gonna go like, "Oh, son of a."
Okay, wait. Is it
Okay, so it happens in Japan.
what's this? Start the question again.
Which novel set in Japan follows the story of a young girl named Chiyo Sakamoto Nita Sayuri?
Wow. See
You're
what I
both
said
gonna
about torture
be
before.
very upset with yourself when I tell you the answer.
Torment.
Is it like was it adapted to television?
It was adapted to a movie, from what I know.
To a movie.
Sharon should really know this. Yeah.
The Joy Luck Sharon, the Joy Luck Club.
That's actually a really good guess, but
Thank
it's
you.
not.
Is it a
Going straight
cartoon
up
movie
Japanese.
or is it a normal movie?
No, real life movie as far as I know.
And now I don't even remember if the Joy Luck Club focused on
Wasn't that
Japan or
set in
Chinese
Seattle?
heritage. It was, but I mean, it was this like the generations of I don't remember. If it was
I think
now
I tried
Chinese
to
or
read
Japanese.
that because didn't Oprah talk about it or something, and then I couldn't get through it.
Wow, great story, Kel.
You're welcome. I also didn't finish. Don't tell my grade like 9 or 10 teacher. I think I was supposed to read Dandelion Wine. Didn't get through that either.
Wow.
And what was that other one? 1984. God.
Yeah.
Isn't that George Orwell?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Catcher in the
Or
Rye.
what about Animal Farm? Is it Animal
Didn't have
Farm?
to do that.
Oh,
one.
I read Animal Farm.
We did too.
Did have to
I
do
read
Catcher in the Rye. That was also painful.
Yeah. How to Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, I read that one as an adult.
I didn't do
What's
that
the
one.
what's the one with Huckleberry Finn?
Tom
Tom Sawyer?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. Here's a fun fact for you. When my grade 10 teacher was absolutely terrible at teaching us Shakespeare. So I hated it in grade 10. Hated it. Then got to see Jeff, had the best Shakespeare teacher ever, and love it now. Like he saved it for me.
See, that's the balance, right? Like you can have someone that like it's so risky. Not everybody can teach.
Just quickly before Sharon tries to guess again. No, Adam will guess. This is why I hated grade 10 Shakespeare. He put on these 12-inch LP records of like somebody reenacting a Shakespeare play. And it was the worst reenactment in life.
Wow.
Like the accents were absolutely terrible, like just garbage. You wanted to poke your eye out with your pen. Like it was just
where people are screaming, make it stop.
Yeah. Like to this day, I'm blanking right now, but it's the one play that I kind of can't still deal with because he wrecked it with this audio magic that was not magic.
Wow.
Adam, guess. Do you have a guess?
Okay, full disclosure, I've been trying to cheat on the internet for the last 2 minutes and I can't find anything.
I saw your eyes cheating.
I have no idea.
Okay.
What is it?
Ready? Memoirs of a Geisha.
I'm not sure I've heard of Memoirs of a Geisha.
Well, I didn't think you did, but Sharon, you must have.
I love the emphasis. Sharon's gonna kick herself for not knowing Memoirs of a Geisha. Putting the gay in geisha. Sharon. Nope, I wouldn't have got that. We would have been here a long time.
But you've heard of it though.
I'm pretty sure.
But
I'm not gonna kick myself, I'll tell you that.
Okay. There's our clip of the week, folks. Anyways.
They made a movie about it in 2005.
Yeah, exactly. Question number dos. Which Belgian band created the soundtrack for the video game Mortal Kombat?
Oh, I should know this.
Belgian, the only Belgian band I know.
I definitely won't be saying that Sharon should kick herself for not knowing.
There will be no self-infliction today.
But you're right, I'm not sure I know a Belgian band. Well, it's a band we know, obviously.
Oh, and I'm thinking a Norwegian band, and that's from the 80s, which would be Aha, which would be not what you would say with the wrong answer.
I love Aha. Cry Wolf. Ooh. Yeah.
Nice not going straight to take on me. Well done.
Oh, Cry Wolf was my jam.
I love Cry Wolf.
That's my they're still good looking fellas.
Nice cheekbones, good facial structure.
It's like they had duck face before duck face was a thing.
Mm.
Adam, you have to look at the band Aha and see what they look like.
I think I have though.
So do we
Isn't
have a
it,
guess?
I'm gonna go with Berlin.
Oh, very nice. That's in
I'm
Germany.
gonna go with my guess for the Belgian band is Ace of Base.
Aren't they not from there?
I was a guess. And I said it with a real lack
Aren't
of confidence.
they from where is Ace of Base from? It's not Norway, it's the other one.
Sweden?
Sweden.
Sweden, that's it. So it's not Belgian chocolate, it's the Immortals.
Oh, you're right.
Which kind of fits in with the whole Mortal Kombat thing.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. See, we've learned something today, everybody.
We did. And we also
Anybody
learned about the
remember what
geisha.
the gay in geisha. You're welcome.
What's your nickname?
Let's get back to this now. One of the this one actually could have been kept in the worst kept secrets file, I think. The Kim Cattrall back for the season 2 finale of And Just Like That, which is a spinoff of Sex and the City, right? She was on The View, spoke about how she really takes the time to assess what projects are right for her at this time in her life. She looked really I thought clear of mind in her delivery and answering questions, which it seemed, I think she was there to talk about another project, but the crowd and the audience at The View went kind of bananas when they mentioned And Just Like That, and that she was going to be on it. And so she, she sort of lit up, and that was nice. But she talked about selecting the right projects that are right for her and how she assesses that. And then she decided that it was right to do this. So she's talking about her reaction to the head of HBO calling and asking, so what can we do to get you on the show? And she said that getting the Sex and the City's wardrobe designer back was essential for her character, she felt. And so that happened. And I guess the other essential thing was not having to deal with the others.
Yeah.
Because it's been reported that she didn't see or speak to any of the co-stars or the show's creator while she was doing her cameo.
Yeah.
Which I think is in keeping with the way it all fell down. What I didn't read was Sarah Jessica Parker's reaction to it, and I'm pretty sure that you did, Cal. But what I did like was that Kristen Davis's reaction. She's the one that plays Charlotte. She had said that they were really hoping that the cameo for the season finale would have been kept a surprise. To which I say, as if, Kristen Davis, that's not a thing anymore. You don't actually, well, as if you don't want that, because now everybody's talking about it. Had you kept it a surprise, it would have been sort of reactionary. Mm-hmm. This way, you're actually getting more of the Samantha fans that maybe weren't watching the show back.
Yeah, but they would have watched it a few days later. But the surprise would have been nice. But
well, then who leaked it?
Well, she did.
Courtney Love.
Oh my God.
But how can she do a cameo without seeing any of the others? Like,
because
I guess it's not about maybe she's on the phone.
She's probably on the phone.
But or maybe it's just a reference to her character and that it doesn't have anything to do with them, but more her.
Right.
I think they should recast her part with what's her face from Indecent. What's her Indecent Proposal?
Sharon Stone?
Yeah.
Indecent Proposal. Is that Sharon Stone?
I think so.
Demi Moore.
Demi Moore.
Oh, what's Basic Instinct? That's the one.
Yes.
That's Sharon Stone, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite the whole fallout of her and the other women and the show period seems so final.
Yeah.
That it's kind of a pretty big leap that she did this cameo at all. And to me, I'm not picking any sides here, because I actually, you only know what's reported, and the truth is found somewhere in between all the stories. But like, I think it wasn't necessarily about her to come back, and I think she really took the fans into consideration, which I think is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want a fun cameo story?
Yes, I do.
I was just changing the topic, but if you want to tag along with me.
I'm ready.
I watched a movie that I'd never watched before this weekend, Django Unchained.
Oh yeah.
By Quentin Tarantino. And at
Yeah.
one point in the movie, I'm like, oh, I know this actor. Who is it? And the scene goes on and on. And I'm like, how can I not know who this person is? It was Quentin, who always does a cameo in his movies.
Oh, cool.
And when I Googled him, I realized I was like, oh. So yeah, couldn't recognize Quentin Tarantino in his own movie. I was not proud of myself. But now I
Wow.
will notice him every time.
That's cool.
So that's it. That's all I got.
I love his
Well, Adam.
commitment to his creativity.
Great movie, by the way. Well, everybody's probably seen it, but great
I have
movie.
not
Don't
seen
worry, I haven't.
Oh well, go watch it. Great movie. All of Quentin's work is great, but
So
That's
far
true.
behind. Yeah.
Wow.
I still got Kill Bill to see from his.
I've seen that one. That's a good one.
Haven't seen either. They're the only ones I need to watch from his.
They're
What do you
just so
call it? A
violent.
filmography. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are some violent scenes, but the violent scenes,
A lot.
like, well, in this movie, like specifically, you know, there's a lot of gruesome, violent, fire, pow pow scenes, but
Yep.
then the blood comes out of the body, but it's so big, it's so fake
Yeah.
that it's not too bad. Like it's
true.
so extra that it doesn't seem realistic. So it takes away a bit of that gruesome whatever feeling, and
It's true.
It's in a good way. I mean this in a good way.
It's almost like a reaction to violence versus like torture or things like
Yeah.
that. Those movies I can't handle.
And it's so big that it's a caricature. You know, it's in caricature. It's what's the
Yeah.
English word for? Is it
Caricature.
caricature? There we go.
Yep.
So
It totally plays on it, stretches the truth, and yeah. It's like it's like cinematic.
exactly.
Mhm.
Indeed. Well, you know what? You know what there won't be in the Wham documentary? Bloodshed. So
Nice segue.
thank you. It has to be, I think, one of the most anticipated documentaries coming, and not just for 16-year-old Sharon.
16-year-old Kelly.
16-year-old Kelly also.
I'm 9 years
And
younger. Let's remember that.
whatever, Kelly Alexander. What I find interesting is that one half of this, one of the most popular, successful pop duos of the 80s is looking back from the, at least one coulda file. It's Andrew Ridgeley who is saying that he wishes that Wham could have done a final tour. They did do a final show. He was telling the BBC, and I quote, "I felt a final tour to say goodbye to our fans around the world would have been a generous gesture. I felt it was a courtesy to them to have done that. The least we could have done, to be honest with you," is what he says about a tour. But I also understood George's essential ideology behind having just one show. End quote. Now, the thing about the just one show is that it wasn't just like a handful of people that got to see it. 72,000 people got to be at Wembley to witness the final concert, literally called Final. That also welcomed Simon Le Bon and Elton John, which, if we side note for a second, if we go back to footage of George Michael talking about, I think he might not have been at his best. I know he wasn't at his best, but he talked about not knowing Elton John. Do you remember Elton John has sort of, like, if you compare the timelines, Elton John has said that he tried to reach out to George Michael and help him. And George Michael was like, "I don't even know him."
Wow.
And that I find interesting because he would have been invited to be a part of that tour. So they would have had to, communicate on some level. And then they did a duet, right?
Yep.
Did they do the duet?
They did.
Yes, of course. At the live one from when Elton John came on, like, his stage. So every time I see the names together, I think, man, he could have used Elton John's help. Obviously.
Yeah, I think there was some prickly business going on because Elton, I think, has slagged George a little bit in the news. Like, and I think on some level, like, wanting to help, but as we know, sometimes Elton says things like super blunt or however you want to say. So I think that irked George Michael, and I think that's even probably in an interview he did where he was not pleased.
Yeah. And you know what? and I love George Michael. He did need help. And I think what irks the most is the truth when you're having a hard time dealing with it.
Right. Yeah.
So
I
here
love
we
George
are.
so much. George.
I know. It's very sad. But it's like this many years later, June 28th was the date of the show back in 1986, that last one for Wham. And like I said, like we were talking about at the start of the show, by the time you guys are hearing us talk about it coming, it is available on Netflix, this documentary on Wham. So if you're wondering where we are, it's probably there watching it.
Yeah. On repeat.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it. Like,
yeah.
yee.
I think I've said
Anyways.
this before, but Janet and George, apparently, rumor has it, we're supposed to do a collab.
Oh,
and that would have been like, and he loved her. Like, he loved her. And so, and I think she felt the same way about him. So I'm sad it never worked out.
I think that those are two artists that that would be able to work well with others. You know,
Yeah.
we saw that certainly of both of them in their careers. George Michael has had this way of sort of, I think, going at even different genres and making it just so slick sounding, and he could go in any direction, I think, and sound great.
Yeah.
So whatever his future creative desires were, he would have nailed it.
Yeah.
And we'll miss that.
Sharon, just before we do your 90s rewind,
Yes.
can I make an Elton John side note?
Please do.
Real fast, I want your opinion on this. I was talking with friends the other day, and we're talking about future Super Bowl headliners. Could Elton John, after his farewell tour, close everything off with a Super Bowl performance this year or next year?
Wouldn't that be cool? That would be, oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so he
Let's
could,
start
right?
spreading that rumor.
It's in his brand, right? It's in his DNA. He could do a Super Bowl performance, a last goodbye to the whole world.
Oh my gosh.
Career speaking, of course.
Of course. I mean, what we know is that they're given like 20 minutes or 12 or something.
Yeah, it's not 20. It's 12 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so 12 minutes, and you have to get in. You're not doing your song, and you're not doing Candle in the Wind. You're doing Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. I'm Still Standing.
Well, he could have a ballad in there. He could do either your song or.
And I would say yes, but no.
Okay.
Because you've got all these thousands and thousands of people in the place cheering football on.
Well, Lady Gaga did 3 ballads or 2 ballads, I think.
Wow.
She sat down on the piano and did, I forget which songs she did, and I've watched that halftime show so many times, but she did a few ballads. So
I think that Elton knows his crowd well enough to know that, all things considered, and no disrespect to Gaga or anybody who does anything down tempo, I think you strike while the iron is hot, and people are like, oh my God, Elton John, he's got to hit hard and fast and up tempo, and totally doable.
Well, I agree with you. That's what he should do, but yeah.
Rumor has it it's Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Rumor has it it's Harry Styles. Well, it would make sense, right?
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
But it's been a while since they went a bit more rocky-ish.
Yeah.
Because we're thinking like other names like Chris Stapleton, Luke Combs could also maybe.
That would suit that brand also. Certainly the audience loves that stuff. The upbeat country rockers. I'd watch it.
They could do they could do a whole female country. They could have like Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, like a bunch of.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
That'd be nice.
Reba.
Love
Reba.
All right. End of side note.
I love that side note, by the way. Thank you very much. Well, and we'll side note that with a rewind over here. We'll go back to 1995 with a couple of watery tunes. One, which at this point in 1995 was at number 1, which was Waterfalls with TLC. A little bit further down the chart, Boys to Men on their 4-part Harms with Water Runs Dry.
There's a theme.
Just take a minute, man. Enjoy that. Actually, the water theme ends there, because I Can Love You Like That came from All for One, which is a big part of the soundtrack of that summer. Also, Shy Guy with Diana King. How about that?
Wow. That's such a great song.
Shy Guy, Shy Guy. Okay. And you know what? there's no party happening in the 90s, certainly not in 1995, or even today when this song comes on. You know the answer. From Montel Jordan, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say ain't no party like an S Club party, and I was all ready for it.
Good one. As fast as that seems, that's your 90s rewind that went back to 1995. You guys.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Anything else?
That is it.
That's all I got.
Yep.
Goodbye. Just kidding. Thank you, everybody, for finding it, as in this show, finding us wherever it is that you do. We appreciate it very much. Checking in with us. Summertime, we still, mail delivery still happens. So if you want to send something to us, find us on social media and get a note to us that way. And until next time, thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.